learn about all kinds of new stuff just by like, what is this space? So it's pretty fun.
Yeah, this is our first Twitter Space conversation. I've gone in and listened in on other conversations like a weirdo, but I haven't actually spoken in one until now.
That's good. Long time creeper, first time caller. Is that what we're saying?
Totally.
Yes.
All right. Let me ping Chris real fast and see what his ETA is. All right, he should be joining soon. By, let's see, fist emoji, how many Stoner Cats owners we got in here? Let's see. Thanks, Ms. Stoner. You have at least 5, Ms. Stoner. We all know that. I'm curious how many are Stoner Cats holders / prospective owners / animation contest participants. Because that's ultimately the reason we're here, but also just to hang out, because why not? You guys don't have Thanksgiving plans, right?
I got too many Thanksgiving plans.
I had my headphones working and now they're not. No. You guys still hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, well, let's get started. I don't want to keep all these very busy people waiting. All right, so for those of you who don't know, Stoner Cats owners have a lot of access to a lot of really cool things. One of which is the opportunity to do 6 seconds of animation in an upcoming episode, with the pitch being that Hammy, if you don't know who Hammy is the smaller cat, is Chris Rock's character. And he is having a moment where he thinks he is a Catzilla smashing through a town. And so the pitch is that you have to do 6 seconds exclusively of what that looks like in Hammy's head as he smashes through a town, Gojira style, but as a cat. He has little cat syndrome, so obviously he's compensating as a kaiju. So we've gotten some really cool submissions so far. We extended the deadline. It was November 10th. It is now December 10th, and we'll make sure we blast that everywhere. For those of you who have already submitted, you are welcome to pull it back or make a comment or resubmit. And if you have issues, feel free to reach out to any of us in the Discord, or you can email at puffpuffpass@stonercats.com, and we'll be sure if you have any issues of resubmission or any issues technically or otherwise, we're happy to talk you through and walk through those steps. But really what we wanted to do is open up this call to people who are already working on it, have questions, who might want to do it, want to know what it looks like. So do we have anybody here who is already working on it or is already submitted or is in progress? And see if we can't pull people up. I think is there a hand raising thing? Am I making that up?
There's a hand emoji you can use, like this guy here.
Let's see. Just want to make sure we can pull people up who have questions. Anybody wants to come up? How does this work? And this is high quality entertainment. Watching someone fumble through Twitter like they're definitely a millennial. Tana, a couple emojis. I don't know if that's just you reacting to me. Wait, requested. Who's that? Al, our friend Al, come on up. Let's get you up here. There we go. Now I see. Yeah, hey Al. Good.
I just wanted to make sure that was all working.
Thanks, Al.
But the other thing is, I did want to come up because I haven't done any work, but I am interested. I'm not an animator. I have no skills, so I just want to get in, and I could help someone because I know there's other people working on it, Stoner Cats. So I just want to hear more. And if I think I could draw something, but I really don't think I'm there's better people here. So yeah.
Don't sell yourself short, but that's a really valid question. Is we're not limiting it to specific animation styles or 2D or 3D or even computer generated. If you want to do claymation, if you want to very nicely and at your own risk potentially take your own pet cat and go walk them through a set that you build or something and film it, it just has to be 6 seconds. So whatever that strikes you as, I know a couple of people I've talked to have their teams, so they're not doing it by themselves. They're kind of pooling together their resources. So Al, maybe if there's someone you can connect with and maybe reach out in the Discord, or people within here, maybe try to follow and connect with each other and see if you guys can't pool together, because we're totally open to having teams. Obviously with GhostSpot here, we're not able to do our whole show by ourselves and we need GhostSpot. So we totally understand the idea of needing a team. Right, Alan?
Right. And even within GhostSpot, there were so many people that were helping within our studio, just doing all different types of animation and work on the project. And, one thing I always like to say is animation, even though sometimes when you do art, it feels like a very solitary thing to do, animation is very much a team sport. I mean, if you look at any movie that Sarah or Chris has worked on, you'll see that there's, the director, and then there's a million of people, millions of credits of animators and compositors and editors just working so hard to make entertainment. So it's a team sport. Definitely just try to find, folks that will help or that you enjoy working with.
Yeah, and the 2 criteria really that you need to be aware of, or I guess 3, is the 6-second length. You don't have to worry about sound. If you want to feel creative and put sound in there, go nuts. We'll take care of that because it's easier for us to clear stuff. And then if we, vocal efforts from Chris Rock or whatever you guys do, then, we'll be sure to add that in. And the only other last thing is don't put anything copyright. Don't put in Nike stuff in there. Don't put in, all kinds of branded content that we'll have to sort of work around. Those are the 3 caveats. Tana. What is it?
It's Tana. It's like Montana without the mon.
Love it. What do you got?
So I just had a quick question because I've been a huge verbal supporter of Stoner Cats since Ashton Kutcher had his first freaking Twitter Spaces about the creation of it. And I put my friend into buying Stoner Cats. I was like, you need to do it. Because I just, in my budget right now, don't have the money to just throw at things. And he did it. And I was super happy. But I've been a huge fan of this project. I think it's super awesome and it's creative. And yeah, I'm a huge fan of this project. However, I had a question about the animation contest. Do you have to be a holder to participate in it?
Yes, that is a very valid thing. And I'll say, if there is one person from your team who has it, that's fine for the criteria that I think we're allotting. It's very, like we said, it's a team sport, so it's a bit difficult to be like, hey, let me find these very specific creative people who all have tokens. If you are part of a team with someone who has a token, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm fine to make that allotment that as long as someone from your team has a token, then you're fine?
Yeah, I think it's just for submission purposes, just so we can kind of make sure that it is a perk for holders versus just anyone kind of randomly coming involved, even though we do want as many supporters outside of the community as we can. But yeah, as I think that's...
Whoops. What is happening? Did we all get muted? Why?
Stoners at the stuff.
So I think, all right, Chris, if you manually unmute yourself and we'll just pretend like that didn't happen. Moving on.
I think the answer is it doesn't have to be everyone, but someone in the group, just to sort of keep it fair.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Roro, do you have a question?
No, it was pretty much answered by Tana. I had the exact same question, but thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. The one question we did get submitted in our form in Discord was, what's going to make us choose the winner? Like, what are we looking for? And I don't know that we specifically have an answer other than it's Hammy's fantasy. So if you guys have seen the animation of Stoner Cats, we're looking for something that looks like a fantasy in his head that kind of breaks what you're expecting to see. So it's kind of a little bit wild. Chris, do you have any other thoughts on that?
You know, it's funny, like already with some of the submissions that have come in, we know we're going to have a hard time picking the winner. And one thing that we want to do is actually find a way to promote and support all of the submissions, have like some kind of live watch party and call outs and so on and so forth, because, you know, all the work that's going into coming in to doing this, contributing, like there's no actual winner. It'll just be what we think is most appropriate for the episode, if that kind of makes sense, versus like what is finger quotes the best. There's a part of me that wants to do like 4 versions of the episode where the top 4 are in there. I don't know if that's practical or plausible, but yeah, we're just gonna kind of drop in whatever feels like the funniest thing to come in and out of. And you know, when we pop back to reality, we want to find a funny version of whatever's happening within his fantasy concept. So that's kind of our creative criteria. But, you know, I really, there are no losers in this competition. It's just, you know, whoever's, you know, submission ends up in the episode specifically.
And Chris and Sarah, that must be a challenge to some degree, because if everyone's turning in there could be one that's very interesting, very funny, but it may not flow well with what happens in the beginning and end of the episode. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have a little bit of malleability right now because, you know, we're still working on the episode and what are the ins and outs. We're kind of leaving that last with the idea of, okay, we'll pivot based off of which one we choose. But it's true in that we kind of have to structure it so it feels like there's a natural in and out from our style of animation into theirs. Or maybe it's funnier that it's just a hard cut of being like, wait, what the hell just happened? But I'll say, we had this, I don't want to say, it's not an issue, but we had this, I think, phenomenon, which is really incredible, is I knew our community was talented, but damn, like, we did the voice contest and we had well over 100 submissions of people trying to audition for the voice of the delivery guy and also the employee in episode 2. And we were like, how do we choose? Like, they're all so good. And we're already starting to get into that with the early submissions that came in. We're just like, oh, damn it, they're good. And so I think Chris is right, is maybe if there's a way that we can showcase them, like bare minimum of like, here are the runners up, or here's what was cool and stuff like that. Just because it's a lot of talent, and I'm really impressed by you guys.
Yeah, I can't commit to it because I just don't know if it's possible or not. But you know, in any way in our ability, we'll do sound things for the stations as well. And maybe we can find some fun little ins and outs. So it may not be plugged into the whole episode, but maybe we can find a way to kind of just give it a feel to sort of show what it would be like if like the alternate version in a way of the episode with these sort of flash inside Hammy's head. But it's super fun, and what's really exciting is just seeing broad and just seeing what random shit everyone comes up with and decides to sort of take the ball and run with it. It's really fun.
Yeah, I guess really, Alan, what we should have been doing is pivoting that question to you, because ultimately there's a world where we're going to decide how to do that, and then you guys are going to have to figure out how to animate around it. So.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh boy. Things to worry about in a few weeks, not right now.
Yeah, that sounds like a future us problem, but let's have some turkey first and then we'll talk about it.
Right.
All right. Does anybody have any other questions? They don't necessarily even have to be specific to the animation contest. I want to make sure everyone gets their questions answered. Eddie, let's get you up here.
Hey there, can you hear my audio all right?
Yeah.
Awesome, perfect. So I just wanted to take the opportunity to ask a question about kind of future episodes. You may have spoken to it. I joined 5 minutes behind. But how are you guys feeling about the timelines of the future episodes and the entire season as a whole? Do you have an idea of when, season 1 might come to an end? I know that's really far away. It's really far, but just wanted to get a feeling of it.
Yeah, that's a great question. Full transparency, which is what we're about, is we don't totally know. Some things we really want to give some more time to later on in the season. So we're trying to figure out how to allot that time across the season per episode. Excuse me. Sorry, y'all. We're trying to figure out where to allot that time within each episode, and really give the time to shine for the story moments that matter. So we're doing a little reconfiguring, and obviously the holidays are going to be a killer of progress. Lisa had talked about this before, but actors usually record stuff for a series a year in advance, or a feature for sure at least a year in advance. And we're trying to go out to these actors who are very busy, and Hollywood literally shuts down like Thanksgiving till now I think it's like mid-January. So it's really difficult to get a hold of anybody anymore. So we're kind of at the mercy of restrictions and time, but
that's totally understandable.
Yeah.
It is really cool to get the literal behind the curtain kind of view of how these shows are made and the actual process. I'm very grateful that we have these creator calls and we're able to talk to you guys, because it's quite honestly an opportunity we would have never had, or I would have never had in my lifetime.
I'm super glad to hear that. That means a lot, because that's everything that we want. We want the power back to artists, power back to creators, and we want to connect with the community. And what I will say is, if I don't have direct answers for you, it's not because I'm being cagey. It's because we literally don't know. And we'll always try to be transparent, and we'll update you when we have updates. We're not trying to be, like I said, really clandestine about anything, because we want to be an open book to you guys. We want to explain our experience and what we're doing. We're kind of pioneering this in a way, and we don't know what it looks like, but also we want to learn and grow with you guys and let you know what that process looks like, and also what the animation process looks like as a whole and the realistic constraints of that. So we'll always try to be honest with you guys, always.
Yeah, and just adding on to that, just quickly, as far as like the timeline and what we are sort of now, we're working right now on stuff this whole week, including the weekend, despite tooth surgery last week. But one of the things that we're sort of figuring out right now is both downtime. Hollywood has a downtime historically between Christmas and New Year, and the downtime is bigger depending on what phase of the production a show is in. If a show is coming out in like March or something like that, people will grind through Christmas and give up their families. I have that specific thing, unless a movie is like really in the rears creatively in that sort of sense. Historically, most of the month of December is a bit of a write-off, certainly from like, mid-December onwards. And then all the artists can, go on vacations and do things, and especially given, COVID and people's sudden ability to travel. So that's one thing that we're kind of balancing right now. The bigger thing, to Sarah's point of negotiating actors in advance, is because we're in a position now where we had expected and planned originally to kind of, mold the episodes and record the actors per episode and do it a little bit more on the fly. We can't really do that because all the actors have gotten busier and their schedules have gotten harder. So we're being asked to record more episodes in advance. But in order to do that, we got to make sure that those episodes that we can use exactly what we record for those episodes. We basically have to prep those episodes as if they're ready for production much farther in advance. So we're kind of at this difficult position where we're in the middle of working on the next episode, but we kind of have to build out future episodes as if we were about to make them tomorrow, just to know that what we're going to record when we get the actors is correct. So I hope that doesn't sound like cop-out or a workaround kind of explanation, but that's why we're a bit muddy, because all of a sudden we have to build basically the entire season before the next episode to record everyone, to get everyone in time. And we'll have pickups and things, but it's something that we hadn't planned for. It wasn't our approach. It wasn't what we were expecting. It's just everything has gotten a little bit more complicated. Actor schedules have gotten busier. They're no longer in the country, that kind of stuff. So that's where the higher the talent you have, the more complicated your planning gets, because like, what are you going to do? Say, hey, fuck your bullshit $100 million movie, come in to our NFT show for 20 minutes, which I would do. That's why I'm not allowed to talk to people directly. But anyway, that's the reasons why we're in this sort of like figuring out phase. The good news is, stopping for a minute, I would love to. I could use some sleep ups, but it, it all goes into the show. Whatever we're doing now, if an episode is delayed, that works going into future episodes. If that makes sense. And our global hope is that we make a season that is memorable to everyone, that has a lasting reaction, that isn't just like, all right, cool, that's done, what's next? And that is satisfying for everyone that's committed their time, money, and attention to what we're doing. I'll stop talking now. That's it.
No, that's also a valid point too, is we're wanting to make something that has a strong through line. Like, we've set up a lot of storylines, if you've noticed in episode 1 and 2, that we want to track and pay off, and not have it be a smoke monster at the end of the season being like, well, what the fuck is that? But the cool thing is that we're hoping, and I don't think this is speaking out of turn, but the idea is that we're trying to do these individual episodes that you could theoretically string back to back, and it would play like a short or like a mini series of sorts. And we want it to be that well thought out that it plays smoothly. So that's something that we're trying to reverse engineer. But the other part that's the ticking clock for us, and Alan and Corinne can speak to this a little more, is we want to make sure that we can keep on those animators, and they can explain that process as to what that looks like. We're taking this time to make sure the story is correct, and we write all the episodes so that we can book all the actors. But in that time, that means the animators are down and you can't necessarily keep them on. So Alan, Corinne, can you speak a little bit to that process?
Yeah, that's the tough part. It's just like any job, you have to keep the crew fed, basically. And so when there's downtime, we're trying to figure out, do we take on more projects, or how do we basically keep the crew on, because they have to be paid. So that's the tough part for us too.
Yeah, and I think in regards to what Sarah and Chris has said about the recordings, it makes a lot of sense. Like, when we were on other projects that were short form content, we were doing the short form content for Star Wars, and they had Daisy Ridley come in to do Rey, and we couldn't just record her for like 1-2 minute short and then call her again in a couple months. Like, it wasn't going to work for her schedule because she was still filming the third movie. So we had to basically get everything done on script and storyboard before she even got to us for all the shorts that we're going to have her on. So that way she could just record it once and be done with it. And that's just way more efficient when people are super busy and the schedule's crazy. And then regarding the animators, they're waiting, right? They don't really it's hard for animators to work piecemeal. So it's always better. It's harder to do, to plan ahead of time and get everything in order, but it's better for the animators as well to have, everything they have, all the information they need to do a great performance and to do great animation.
It's tough a little bit about what we're doing. The way we're doing it is historically on an animated TV show, almost every, or any TV show really, with the exception of maybe like True Detective or a few things, is that different directors and different writers for each episode. So you can film with actors a whole season. Currently, actors will jump from episode to episode because they'll be shooting kind of with whoever's not on set at the same time for another episode, and that's what they did for Ted. So whenever you see a main character is not in an episode, shooting another episode while that episode is shot with the cast that you're not seeing on there. But that sort of writers and directors allow you to I don't know, butter more bread at the same time. I don't know what the analogy is, but because we're kind of doing it all ourselves at once, we are a little bit right now the creative roadblock in being this sort of linear process of figuring things out, because we're also the ones making the show technically in the background. So we're kind of like, it's all good. We're figuring it out, but it wasn't exactly what we planned when we started.
Yeah, we're evolve, adapt, overcome. Is that what it is? Humble, you have a question for us?
Yeah, thank you. I'm not sure if this is the exact forum for it, but I'm a new holder as of last night, and I was really excited to join after seeing what the community was about and the show and everything. And I watched the first 2 episodes and laughed my ass off. So that was amazing, and this is a really cool conversation already. But yeah, I guess my question is kind of a little higher level, just as far as like, and again, this might not be the best forum for it, but just kind of as far as like what your overall goals with the show are, and specifically like I think it's super cool having the token gated access to token holders only, but like I was wondering like what ways you think could be expanded from that as far as distribution, or if there was even a goal to expand further than that, or just to keep it at the limited audience. I guess I was just curious on that stuff.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for joining us. We're super happy to have you. Like, we love getting new people onboarded and chatting with people and getting everyone's feedback. So thank you for joining us. But to answer that big scope question is we aren't totally sure, but we are leaning heavily into our community to get their feedback. We have a DAO that's deciding the sort of future of these sorts of projects, and Stoner Cats holders have, unlimited access sort of to all things in perpetuity going forward. So there's Gimmicks, which is another show that's kind of a choose your own adventure that's being done. So there's a lot of different things that you're getting access to that's outside of Stoner Cats specifically. But to our specific show, we don't know what it looks like. It could go to a Netflix if that's what the community wants. If they're like, hey, this was fun, let's do, 6 seasons in a movie, like, let's do that. We're really open to see where people want this to go. If they're happy with the show and they're happy with its trajectory, we're open to what that looks like. We don't have any set plans specifically. As far as messaging from the show, there's a lot of deep undertones that you wouldn't necessarily think in the log line of Stoner Cats. A big part of that is Ms. Stoner having Alzheimer's, and what that looks like, and what the cats can or cannot do with their newfound sentience of choosing their ego over their empathy, or vice versa, of what's really important to them. We really want to track that storyline, and that's really important. And part of that is inspired by my mother. So there's a lot of really emotional beats to it, but then also, we're going to throw in a fart joke because, that's also my 12-year-old humor. So, we really want to deliver a solid show that's more than what you would expect from a logline Stoner Cats. And then, then see where it takes us and where you guys want it to go. We're ready for that ride, whatever it is.
Yeah, when we first started this, we had mapped out a potential, and the show has evolved. As I say this before, from what we originally conceived, and a lot of that is specific to the audience and you guys, and sort of ideas that people have come up with, and what people respond to, and just naturally sort of where it's evolved creatively. But we mapped out, storylines and potential things for up to like 3 seasons worth of stuff. So we have this giant notebook full of, world expanding stuff, and the idea was, we start in the living room of the house, and as the show expands and the concepts expand, we also start to see more of the world building and other animals and so on and so forth. So creatively, there's no kind of end of where we could go. We want to make a somewhat standalone story for these first 6 episodes that is going to be essentially a launch pad in a way to where the show will and could go after that, and whether that's another season, another short season, another episode season, or a movie, all these things are being discussed, and it'll be about sort of what fits best, both for like what story we come up with, and so on and so forth. Yeah, we've thought about potentially when it's done, once it's a complete thing, we could put it on Amazon or wherever the best hosting place is for it. There's a little bit of a complexity to that because there's a lot of legalities to clearing the actors who have prior contracts. One of the reasons we got everyone that we did is that this is under the art umbrella because NFT is considered art. So we got around some of our Hollywood logistics by being a little bit different in that regard, and considering this sort of a more art-based project, even though what we're doing is traditional animation. And the other thing we talked about as far as expanding our audience, an audience base, and I can't speak much to this because I don't fully understand it, but fractionalization will probably come in at some point once someone figures out how to do it, so that everyone can, we can have more people have access to everything, so we're not breaking the rules, but we can invite more people in a way that's a bit easier to entry level, and so on and so forth. So all of these things, we have teams of people sort of coming up with marketing concepts of how to expand, but the idea is that this is the beginning of something. This is the first show. We're fumbling a little bit in our planning. Everyone, the next show will benefit from our learning. We've got merch going on in the background. We've got on the platform building, other shows, different kinds of content. Hopefully more and more people will audition their content for Lisa Orchard Farms to make. And that's the most planning that we have so far.
That was super helpful for context, and I really loved those answers, and really it was beautiful what you said too, Sarah. I love that. I think people connect really meaningfully with shows and stories that have a solid emotional element that maybe even puts tears in your eyes for a second, but then that comes back with something funny and enjoyable too. So I really just love all that, and I would love to help from a. I know you mentioned earlier, or it was either this or the meeting before this, but there was mention of kind of having a summary of everything for new people who join, and I would be happy. I write a little bit, so I'd be happy to help kind of summarize and put that in a special section of the Discord or something if that helps everyone. So appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks so much, Emil. I appreciate that. There is some stuff in the Discord of some FAQs and some roadmap things of that nature. So if you're not in the Discord, definitely join. If you are, give that a look-see. And if you feel like as a newcomer that's not really hitting the mark and answering all your questions, please do reach out either to a mod. Bardo is a god / mod. So if you want to message her, or you can email puffpuffpass@stonercats.com. We're always open to feedback. So we appreciate that. Axiom, what up?
Hello, Sarah. Hello, everyone. I'm doing well. I appreciate the conversation. It's been a while since I've been in a community call or a creators call, so I'm happy to be back. And yeah, I just wanted to say that I loved episode 2. It was amazing. It felt like an eternity in the NFT space. We kind of have like ADHD in the community. We get kind of spoiled by the fast-paced nature of crypto and everything. So I was just happy that it dropped. And I was excited today because I adopted a little kitten. It was a little, well, I didn't adopt it. It was a foster. I saved one from, it was like a high risk shelter. They could have potentially like euthanized it. So I saved it from that environment, and then today someone came and visited it. So while I was in the community call with Mac and all them, the lady came, visited, she got the cat. I'm just super excited because it's like when I see the show, it reminds me of like, it encouraged me to do things like that, to be a part of, like to help cats, not just from an animation perspective, but in IRL and reality. So I just, I love the story of Miss Stoner. I love the fact that her cats, the characters, they care about her. They care about her Alzheimer's, that they gain sentience. So I don't know, it means a lot to me emotionally. And I'm trying my best to take like my blessings in crypto and reciprocate it back to the world, even if it's just a minuscule way. So yeah, thank you guys for making the show, and thank you for letting me be a part of your community.
Oh, Axiom, that's beautiful. I love that. That's exactly what we want to hear. And that's really what we're finding in our community is just such wonderful people like you who are, doing acts of kindness, and that's a big factor in us bringing on Gary Vee is just, kindness matters. Like it's a really fundamental value of who we are. And I know there's a lot of people who troll and who FUD and who hate, but the purity of things like that is why we want to keep doing this. So thank you so much, Axiom. I really appreciate it. And I know Ms. Stoner is also very excited about the fact that someone acquired another cat.
Yeah, thank you guys. I love you all, and I'm happy to be here. And I'm going to be a forever supporter of Stoner Cats and any other future animations and endeavor you guys do.
Amazing. Thank you. Huss, is that right?
Yeah, it's Huss.
All right, what's up?
I'll be honest, I was just scrolling through my spaces. I seen the space, I decided to look more into it. And I can appreciate the effort that goes into obviously animating from scratch, from hand. It's a lot, it's very time consuming. And the fact that you're doing it to not just for yourself, it's not for a major corporation, you're doing it individually as a private entity is astonishing. Like, hats off to you, it's commendable. I also think it's a funny play on words because I'm not sure in the UK, but you see when you refer to stoner cats, we call cats in the UK people that obviously are involved in heavy drug usage. So I just thought it was a funny play on words in that sense, right? Yeah. That just made me laugh in that regard. But I'd appreciate if you just explain a bit more. So what are these the characters in these shows? Are you selling them as NFTs and what is it?
First of all, I did not know that as a slang for cats. So I learned something today. So thank you for that. That's awesome. I'm going to pretend like we planned that. So for the log line and the pitch is that the show is about Ms. Stoner, just see lovely in the top corner there as the host, Ms. Stoner and her 5 adopted cats, which is her adoptive family. And through some sort of mysterious mix-up, her medical marijuana that got delivered caused her cats to become sentient. So now they have this newfound abilities of being able to walk, talk, do all things humans can do. And now they're more self-aware and aware that Miss Stoner has her ailments of Alzheimer's and how they can help her. So it's kind of their hijinks of figuring out how did they get sentient? How do they stay sentient? And how do they protect their owner and their own little family? And for those of you who don't know, we have Fifi, who is the only female cat and is played by Mila Kunis. We have Baxter the Hackster, who is played by Ashton Kutcher. We have Hammy, who is the runt cat, who's played by Chris Rock. And we have Dave and Reggie, who are twin cats, but could not be further apart personality-wise. And they are played by Seth MacFarlane. And then we have a stuffed cat named Lord Cassington, who lives on the television, who is mysterious in his own way. And that is played by Ethereum creator Vitalik Buterin. And then, of course, Miss Stoner is played by Jane Fonda, which is just everything. So we have a stellar cast, and we're introducing new characters. In the last episode, we introduced Hash Panda, who was played by Gary B. So we're introducing new characters, and there was an initial drop back in July. That was 10,420 cats plus Ms. Stoner, and those gave you access to this show, as well as events like this animation contest, getting a voice in the show, and a bunch of other calls and access to the composer, and with GhostSpot talking about animation. So there's a bunch of different events that you get access through in addition to the shows and any future shows released on this sort of platform. Is everything in a nutshell. Does that answer all your questions?
That answers more than what I asked, to be fair. No, but you can definitely tell like a lot of thought process has gone through this, because even you describing the personalities, everything that's been personified, in a sense, people can obviously relate. So every cat has their own unique quality, and I'd assume talent in the sense of if their personality reflects what their actions portray, then definitely people can relate to each character. And I think that's one of the reasons why maybe this will go further than even perhaps yourself expected. And big names are involved, which something, I'll be honest, I didn't even expect to hear them type of names. So kudos for that. Obviously, the project, it seems like it will go very far ahead, and I'm definitely going to look into it more now. I generally had not the slightest idea about this show until I came across the space, but just in the fact that you've explained it in such a manner, it's got me interested, and obviously I'm gonna look more into it. But awesome. You should definitely claim knowing in regards to the what I told you about the cats. Definitely say that off as something you planned beforehand.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks, and if you'll notice too, we put a lot of effort into each NFT so that the assets and the things that they have, each cat has, is on brand with what their character is in the show. So really you're getting to get a sneak peek into what that character is like the more you explore the NFT. So it's identifying which one you like the best, and then also getting a little insight into what the characters are. So we're really trying to keep everything tied together.
No, definitely, I can see that. I'm looking through your Twitter feed right now. I'm seeing one of the cats, they're holding an energy drink. They have a rainbow necklace. Yeah, I can see that. You've portrayed enough to get a general gist of the idea of what the cat's all about.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we hope you join us. We'd love to have you in more things like this. So definitely, if you get yourself a token, go ahead and jump in our Discord, and we'd love to chat more with you.
Definitely, I'll check that out.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw in there, if you check out my Twitter profile or Miss Stoner Cat's profile, our Big Head Club is in here as well. The Discord is in the link there, or the Discord link is there. You can join there. You get a lot more info. Cool.
Perfect. Thanks, Al.
Yeah, I heard that. That's cool.
Let's see. Chronic, do you have a question?
Hey, yeah, I actually was kind of caught off guard that you guys had this today. I was wanting to drop in and say I really appreciate, especially the level that your project is on, being open and available like this. I've actually got a couple things that I wanted to talk to you about, but I did send you a private DM. I didn't want to talk to you about it over the space, but I just want to thank you for what you're doing, and I absolutely love the project and think it is the coolest thing I have seen by far in the NFT space yet.
Oh, thanks so much. Really appreciate that. We'll definitely make sure to connect with you guys. And We've been doing a lot of our stuff in Discord and also in Zoom, because sometimes we do screen shares of showing Ash, who couldn't make it, but also GhostBot, sharing like visuals of how they animate and how things work. So sometimes we do stuff in Zoom, and Twitter Spaces doesn't lend to that sort of visual experience. But I also really like Twitter Spaces, and I think it's great for reasons like this, where people who aren't necessarily in it, and we can get more people on board and chat with people and get new ideas and new feedback, because that's the only way we all grow together, is if we have more feedback and more critical responses on what we're doing, then we can improve.
Yeah, most definitely. And, it's funny because I've been following you guys, I guess apparently not for as long as I thought you had been around. I didn't realize about the drop, and I kind of wish I'd gotten on that, but either way, I think it's awesome. And like I said, one of the few projects that actually makes me smile and hearing the story, and I can connect with both me personally and with my family being a part of our collection. Ours is a family ran thing, and just to hear everything you've been talking about today has been absolutely awesome. I just wanted to let you guys know that.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it's really important that we're open and honest, like we've been saying before, but also there's a lot of room for other projects as well. And I want to make a point to that, as we love all these other creative projects in here. And, if you watched episode 2, it's not a spoiler, but there's, some Bored Apes, there's some World of Women. Like, we really want to lift each other up in this process. There's no need for anybody to be negging on projects, and there's plenty of room for us to grow. And as you guys all know, being here now, we're all early, right? Like, this is only going to grow and get bigger and expand. So we're all on the train really early. So let's join hands and go up together.
Absolutely.
We're trying to decentralize entertainment the same way that crypto is decentralized money. There's something exciting about giving people, control of more things. What they want to watch, what they want to support, and what we've sort of started, not specifically us, but in general, what we're sort of part of in this sort of space, is a big statement to Hollywood and studio systems, because the one thing that they have, in control is money. Money is the thing that allows, shows to get made, that allows people to sort of pursue creative endeavors. And there's sort of always been gatekept by the studios, and the studio system used to be more creative run, and now it's very corporate run. Sony runs Sony, but it's like AT&T runs Warner Brothers, and Comcast runs Universal. So it becomes a little bit more clinical, and the content you get, I think, sometimes is starting to reflect that. So this is a new space where people who have things that they want to do, that are exciting to them, that other people are interested in, have an opportunity to make, at a higher level. And be funded in the crypto world. And we're still figuring out what it means, how it works, who gets paid and how, and all of that kind of stuff. But it feels exciting to be part of something new.
Yeah, I think everyone's still trying to figure out what we're doing here. And the one thing is, the best thing about it all is the unification that this is bringing globally for projects like you guys, and just being able to spread just the peace of mind and the environment that NFTs basically come along with it. This is like probably the best time I could ever think of to be alive right now, is to be part of this NFT movement. This is changing the globe for the better. Yeah, I think it's great. What everyone in this NFT community is doing is really going to be something to take note of.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I want to make sure we get to some questions. So we have about 10 minutes left here. Young Crypto, what do you got? Yep. All right, we'll move on to No Superman Chris, and then Young Crypto, if you pipe in, we'll get you after.
Hey there. Just wanted to say hello and then ask if there is any timeline or any details on how that drop of the extra 1,000 of the Hash Panda is going to work. I mean, I see you with these kind of things, you want to onboard new people, of course. But will there be any kind of raffle to get on the waitlist for that as a current Stoner Cats owner, or is there no specifics on that at all as of yet? Thanks a lot.
Yeah, of course. We haven't discussed necessarily whether it's Hashpanda. I know there's a lot of want for it to be Hashpanda, so we're working on that. And then date TBD. I don't want to.
The new year.
Yeah, it'll be the new year, but I don't want to commit us to say this, but I'm fairly certain to say that Stoner Cats get early access, much like Big Head Club. If you've done the Oni Ronin or the Ghostbusters, Stoner Cats holders get whitelisted and get a pre-sale. So I'm going to assume it's going to be similar to that way. And there will also be raffles and things for those who are not already owners and who want to take part. So yeah, we're definitely going to make sure it's easy for our owners, but also easy for people to onboard as well. It's a great question.
Something that we might end up talking with the DAO about and see what everyone's opinion is figuring out if we want to, do percentages that are for, owners first, but making sure that we keep some for new people. Because one thing that, to your point, there's a lot of people that wanted to get in early that didn't get the opportunity. And one of the things that we wanted to do is not, we chose to keep a fixed, price for NFTs. And obviously the fluctuation of Ethereum makes that, dollar value different, but we wanted to keep it as accessible as practical for what we needed to cover, expenses and actually make the show and pay everyone and so on and so forth. And so we wanted to make sure that everyone had the opportunity, well, everyone, you know what I mean, to get in on Stoner Cats at its original price. So the one thing that would be unfortunate is for new people or people that missed out previously to not get an opportunity as well. So I think it's an interesting community question of how much do we want to make sure that the current owners have access to, and how much we want to, allow for new people to get into, obviously excluding any of the whales that just buy everything up, throw it straight onto OpenSea at twice the price. But it's something we're definitely looking at, talking through and figuring out.
Yeah, absolutely. Crypto Junior, that's a sweet looking hammy you got there.
Hello there. Sorry, I'm currently cooking dinner, but yeah, thank you for having me. Just wanted to say I love the project. The project's very good. I enjoyed both episodes, and of course, I had to get myself one. I found out about the project through Gary V's Discord, so thanks to him, I got to know about the project. I've just got one question. Do you know anything maybe, or have you got anything in the works about stuff to do with the metaverse? Or would you be looking to implement the project into some land in the metaverse areas? Because I've been, researching a lot about Mana and Decentraland and Sandbox.
Yeah, I know our team is big into Web3 and the metaverse, and they're well above my knowledge and understanding of it. I know that for a fact. So I know as things are being looked into specifics, I'm not totally sure, but it's definitely something that we want to embrace.
One of the things that we're talking about, maybe doing a theater at some point and having a virtual meeting place for people that couldn't meet up in real life and, go to a cinema and have drinks and talk and whatever it is. So there's a few things that have gone around, but buying a plot of land essentially, or setting up a sort of community space, I'll be very surprised if that's not, an immediate plan coming forward.
Yeah, that would be very cool, because that's how I was looking at it. It would be nice to meet other people who own their own Stoner Cats in that type of metaverse. As you said, we might not be actually able to meet each other. As I said, it'll be quite great. So it's nice to hear that you guys are thinking about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I'll say one thing that, the pandemic, I think, in my opinion, has exponentially pushed the metaverse and Web3 and crypto. We've made it widely acceptable to be remote and connect with people easier. And now there's so many ways to do that. So I think that that's just one of them. And I think we're headed that direction at a faster pace than we normally would have. But personally, I'm here for it.
Oh, that sounds perfect. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak. And thank you for answering them so well. Cheers.
Yeah. Thank you. Young Crypto, do you want to see if we can try again?
What's up, guys?
Hey. Do you have a question?
So my question for you guys was just like going into the future, are you going to add more utility?
Yes, I don't know to what capacity, but again, that's something that our team is working on. And like Chris said, there's a lot of legal stuff with us being in the entertainment and with actors and certain things. But I know that our team is looking on the ways to like optimize utility of things. So yeah,
Could you
absolutely.
give any examples of what you would want to add?
I can't legally. But there are things that I just don't want to say and overpromise or take out of context. But that's not me trying to avoid your question. I'm just genuinely saying that there is stuff in the works, but I can't talk about it.
I mean,
I understand.
Yeah.
The one thing we're planning, I think, with the Stoner Cat holders, because it's sort of at the ground level of whatever, future content is being built within the sort of Orchard Farms NFT space, is, the ability to have access to future content, ongoing and tangential content, anything that we can connect into our sort of community. So the idea being like the things that we have access to for our show will expand to other shows and future content ongoing. And it should just, start to pile up and just be more and more as we start to make more stuff down the line. Kind of the best answer that I have for the entertainment side of it for now.
Cool. We're running tight on time. Let's see, Mehul?
That's right. Hey guys, I heard the word metaverse and I thought I would give my 2 cents on that. So I've been in the AR VR industry for the last 10 years and I'm also building a metaverse world separately and also have an NFT project which just came out today. So I just wanted to mention that metaverse is the next big thing, as we all know. NFT right now is very early stages that I feel that people are using it for PFP and all that, but it's going to be way more, there's going to be way more utility in future. So if anyone is dabbling into that, I would highly recommend you guys to.
Oh, we may have lost you. You cut out for a second. You highly recommend we what?
Sorry, yeah. I said I recommend dabbling more into it and trying to get into as many platforms as possible because it's going to be the next big thing, especially with NFTs where people are going to buy different things. With all these big platforms like Fortnite, I think pretty soon you're going to be able to transfer NFTs into those platforms too.
The issue that I see with that is if they had a secondary marketplace, they wouldn't make as much money because, if people were holding like skins or whatever for a long time and they didn't want the game anymore, they'd just list below and they wouldn't get that much of a fraction of it. And so that's like the issue I see with that. And I feel like that's why they don't have a secondary marketplace.
So you mean a secondary marketplace in the metaverse?
Or no, like a secondary marketplace in these bigger games like Fortnite, Call of Duty,
okay.
stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll say like for us initially, it's the first drop for us where we, it takes a lot of money to run a show and hire animators and hire actors and hire everyone. So that for us is, the buy-in is a bit higher for a lot of people, but that's why. So for us, secondary is not as big of a deal. If it's, again, something that the DAO would want, that's something that they can decide to do. So we're really leaning into where people want to go with stuff. But we definitely have metaverse plans as well. So we'll see how it goes.
Also, wanted to add, if anyone has any questions, feel free to DM me. I can definitely help with anything you guys need with metaverse side.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. We'll definitely need guidance, so that's great. We'll take one last question. We'll say Rakshith.
Hey, thank you, everybody. I'm really late on this. I'm just getting started with this whole Web 3.0 world. I would really appreciate if you could give me some pointers about how to get started on this project. And, as a beginner, what are your tips? I mean, this may be a very cliche question, but sorry to ask.
Yeah, no, that's not a cliche question. That's a really valid question for a lot of people who are trying to get into it. We have a lot of walkthroughs and a lot of things posted. I know there's a really cool graphic that was made by the DAO of how to set up your MetaMask. So if you're not even to a point where you have a crypto wallet and you don't have ETH and things of that nature, there's a lot more onboarding stuff to do. But if you already past that point, then going to OpenSea and buying a Stoner Cat token on the secondary market will then get you access into our show. But it really just depends on where you are, and we can sidebar with you. So if you want to DM Stoner Cats, we can make sure we get that information passed on to some people who can walk you through that.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Of course. Okay. Well, we got to jump to another meeting. Like you're saying, we're really pushing on getting all those episodes ready for you guys so that we can get them out in a timely fashion as feasible. So thank you guys all for joining. If you have more questions about the animation contest, I know we sort of diverted from the topic, but if there are questions that didn't get answered, please email puffpuffpass@stonercats.com. Check out our Discord link, which is both in Big Head Club and also in Stoner Cats on Twitter. And please connect with us. We love hearing from you guys. And if you guys want us to do more Twitter Spaces, we'll happily do more Twitter Spaces. Just let us know. And thanks for giving us some time of your day.
Yeah, and just one last thing quickly. Something else that we're doing in the background that I don't think we've mentioned as much is we're trying to give our community some interim content between episodes as well. So without derailing what we're doing, we're not going to have any dead time, whatever it is, as we're going through. And we've got a couple of special little things just to say thank you guys for being supportive and being part of everything here. I don't want to spoil it as it comes out, but hopefully we got some cool, fun things that'll be surprising for everyone coming soon. So thank you guys very much.
Yeah, thanks. And thanks Alan and Karina Ghostbot for taking the time today to help answer any sort of animation questions that come up.
Yeah, and I know we didn't cover too many animation questions on this call, but we're happy to try to help and field things as people progress in animation.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll walk you guys through every step that you guys need help with. So don't hesitate to reach out. All right. Thanks, everybody. If I don't talk to you before, have a good Thanksgiving.